104.5 The Team, your home for New York sports, and from 104.3 The Fan in Denver, our former coworker and current good friend Zach By joins us. Zach, the news of Joe Cremo and David Nichols asking to leave UAlbany or putting in the paperwork is out there now. Just so everybody knows, what is your relationship with Joe Cremo?
My relationship with Joe started, many, many years ago, almost 15 years ago. He was a young guy coming up in the Scotia program, and I was on varsity basketball at the time, and we had a really, really good team, and Joe was our ball boy along with little Scotty Stapira, and we just always looked after those guys and always tried to take care of those guys whenever we could. And as Joe got older and into high school, we would work out and just began to really develop a relationship that was more of a you could even say a mentor relationship when he was about 9th or 10th grade. And then when he decided to come to the University at Albany, I was the color commentator there. So the relationship even only grew from there because, we're traveling together, we're staying in the same hotels, we're sitting next to each other on airplanes. So, I know his family really well. So this is a 15-year relationship that, is bigger than basketball. But a lot of our relationship is based around basketball because that's what tied us together for all these years. And
so big that you play on Scotia night. I mean, that's how big the relationship is.
Yeah. So we're from the same small hometown. We just have always just connected on a good human level, and I've always wanted what's best for Joe, and so that's we have a good strong relationship.
According to the Times Union, I think you spoke to them last night or this morning, that you had been talking to Joe Cremo over the course of the last week. How much can you share with us of the time frame of what went on involving this decision by him?
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of conversation. I mean, it was probably around an hour a day, for the last week or so, and we even leading up to that, we would talk after every game and things like that, just the way we had always done before I left for Denver, leaving UAlbany. But the conversation started to really legitimately start with me, at least, maybe a week or two ago. And he said, I'm thinking about transferring because I have this unique opportunity to do something I've always wanted to do, and that's play at the highest level of college basketball. And anyone who knows Joe knows he was very forward about the level that he wanted to play at when he was in high school. So, when Joe was, I think he was 14 or 15, I picked him up one day, and I went to a local park in Scotia called Corporations Park, and I remember asking him what his goal was. I said, give me your basketball goals. And at the time, the first couple goals were, I want to start on varsity, I want to be an all-Foothills Council player. And then he just kept going. He goes, I want to play at Syracuse, and then I want to play in the NBA. And for me at the time, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to shoot that down, but I'm kind of rolling my eyes in my head. I said that to say that he has just worked tirelessly. He didn't have that opportunity to play in a Power 5 conference coming out of high school. So he saw an opportunity that he'd be able to accomplish that dream. It is a very unique opportunity that very few kids get. So in relation to the conversations that we've had, that's kind of the way it started. And I never, ever, not one time, and I made sure not to, wade in with an opinion. Because it's no one else's choice but Joe's. But I would just ask questions. I just wanted to make sure he was sure, because he's leaving a situation that is, it's his team. He was on pace to be a 2,000-point scorer. Jersey retired. The whole thing. And I wanted to make sure just that he knew that he was certain. And the more he talked about it, and every time that I would check in with him and we talk about it, he just became more and more sure and more confident that this is what he wanted to do, because he felt like in his gut that years from now, had he not taken this opportunity, that he would look back and regret not making a run at it. And in my opinion, guys, there was no wrong answer. Both situations are really, really good, privileged situations to be in. And he made his mind up, and from there, you just got to support him. And anyone who cares about Joe should be supportive, because this is a big boy decision by a grown man who's 21 years old. And at that point, I just got to support him in whatever he wants to do.
Zach By with us right now on 104.5 The Team, formerly of The Team, formerly of the UAlbany broadcast, a local basketball standout in his own right, now on 104.3 The Fan in Denver. It's what I find interesting is how well Cremo is set up to do this, as he can use the grad level to move on and not have to sit out for a year. Was that always the plan, to keep that door open, or did he just happen to look over and go, oh wow, everything's kind of lined up nicely for me to go do this?
Yeah, no, this was definitely not planned, and actually he still needs to take another course, and he had that course. He was enrolled in another course that he dropped this very year that disallowed him to graduate on time. So that the theory that he had this plan is just not accurate, because like I said, he actually dropped the course that he's going to need to retake a course this summer. So that was it. Definitely, absolutely not. There was no sort of exit strategy or anything like that, or else he would have kept all his courses and he'd be able to graduate on time like everyone else. Or I shouldn't say on time with everyone else, but after
early.
3 years.
Yeah.
No, that was at least that I know, that was certainly not a long view incentive. No.
Zach, the most common question we're getting on social media over the last 24 hours have involved Coach Will Brown, one of which, does this mean he's going to leave, or was there an issue with the relationship between Joe Cremo and Will Brown? Do you know anything about that?
Not at all. Not at all. First of all, to your first question, I have no knowledge of Will moving anywhere. I mean, Will's had opportunities to move on multiple times. I mean, the guy's won 5 championships. You're going to have opportunities, and he's chose to stay and continue to build the program that he has fostered at the Division I level. So, to my knowledge, he's not going anywhere. But the relationship-wise, no, I've never heard of anything like that. In fact, in my conversations with Joe, he said the hardest part about this was going to be telling Will. And I can tell you that Joe was emotional during that time, because you spend years with a guy fighting for the same goal. And Coach Brown cares a lot about Joe Cremo. That's a fact. Joe Cremo cares a lot about Coach Brown. That's a fact. They spent years together, but this is not about anything else but Joe trying to capitalize on a very, very rare opportunity to play at a Power 5 school, and check that box off in his brain that he feels like would kind of eat at him if he didn't take that opportunity.
I know the storyline that's going to be for us here at 104.5, the team over the course of the next 9 to 12 months, both fans of Scotia, fans of UAlbany, and the question is going to be this. What is deemed a successful move by Joe Cremo? Is it playing for a team and getting significant minutes? Is it being on a team that goes to the NCAA tournament, something he hasn't been able to do with the Great Danes? I know you talked to him. What would be deemed a successful move from him leaving UAlbany and then having this happen for next season?
Well, that's a good question, and I don't know if there's a hard and fast, definition for what successful would look like, but I can tell you for sure that Joe is going to have opportunities to play 25 minutes a night in a Power 5 at a Power 5 school that has a chance, a really, really good chance to play in the NCAA tournament. And because Joe has been so successful over the last 3 seasons, he's going to have such an incredible amount of suitors. And I don't think people really understand. I actually heard that someone said, where do you think he's going to go? Almost like skeptical. And anyone who is skeptical just doesn't understand the landscape of college basketball and how valuable a graduate transfer is. That Joe Cremo shot 47% from 3. And he also shot 47% from the field. And it's not like he was taking 1 3 a night. The kid scored 1,500 points in 3 years, 450 rebounds, 300 assists. He's one of the most efficient players I've ever seen. So he's going to be a commodity to, probably 25 to 30 Power 5 schools.
Wow.
that are going to view him as an instant playmaker, a hard worker, a guy that can knock down shots, and a guy that can pass, dribble, and shoot. So he does everything. So he's going to, I'll give you a frame of reference. There's a kid at Maine, okay, in Albany's conference named Aaron Calixte. Aaron Calixte is not half the player that Joe Cremo is, and Aaron Calixte will be at Oklahoma this coming season.
Wow.
Okay, Joe, it's not out of the question that schools like Louisville, SMU, Creighton, just kind of spitballing. I'm talking Big East, a Big 12. They're going to be banging down Joe's door, and in fact, it wouldn't shock me at all, even despite his release, that people are trying to get to him now. And in fact, I know they are. So he's going to have a long, long list of suitors. And there's a grad transfer list, okay, that every Division I school has. Joe's name, as soon as it got out there, went to the top of the list. So, I asked you guys personally and everyone else out there, if you had an opportunity to play in front of 15,000 people a night on a full scholarship in a Power 5 conference, and you were in the exact same scenario as Joe, it's very easy to say, well, stay and finish it out and stay and try to win a championship. Yeah, I totally get that, and there's no wrong answer, but there's also another side of this that is very valuable in Joe's mind. So he's going to be all right. He's not going to be short on options, that's for sure.
Zach, let me ask the question I know Goz wants to ask. Could he play a 2-3 zone?
Unfortunately, I don't think Syracuse would be a good fit for Joe, and that's just my natural gut reaction. And I'm not sure the ACC in general would be a good fit for Joe, because Joe doesn't rely on athleticism. He doesn't finish above the rim. And the ACC is just littered with athletes. But you look at a school like, I don't know, could Joe fit in at Wichita State?
Yeah.
Could he fit in at Butler? Could he fit in at Gonzaga? Could he fit in at Creighton? I think it's yes to all those.
Listen, I have one question for you, though. If he becomes a Shocker, I know how close you are. I need you to get me a Joe Cremo Shocker jersey. I want that in writing right now from you, Zach Pye.
I'm excited for Joe because I care about him. And look, and here's the other thing. Will Brown and the rest of his staff, they've developed such a culture and a winning tradition at Albany. You look at how many 20-win seasons in a row or in the last 10 years, they're going to be fine because they do a great job of recruiting. So hopefully Joe can find a great landing spot, land at a great school, play 25 minutes a night, and be a productive player. And UAlbany will be able to figure it out because, again, the coaching staff and the culture that they've created is strong. And they may have a season where they go through some growing pains, but you got to remember, Will Brown built that program at the Division I level. There was no history of Division I success. And then you look, 18 years later after they become a Division I school and they've been to 5 NCAA tournaments. And I think that both parties are going to have success. I'm hopeful of that.
Well, of course, now that the shock is kind of wearing off, we're all, excited about everybody's future. And I know you were very close, with Joe Cremo, with Will Brown, and, the UAlbany Athletics Department. So I know you have your fingers crossed that everybody has the absolute best outcome from this. But, Zach, we appreciate hearing from you. And just because you're basically across the country, don't think we don't listen once in a while. You're doing a great job in Denver, man.
Yeah, and I often eavesdrop on you guys too, and I just loved my time there at the team, and I loved my time at UAlbany. I've had moments of I feel conflicted myself, because I love the program and I love Joe, and there's it just kind of is what it is. But like I said, I'm wishing the best for everyone, including David, because David's going to end up probably at a Power 5 school too. He's a 1,000-point scorer who can play immediately, so. I just wish what's best for everyone, and I actually think it's going to be the case eventually for everyone.
Zach, bye, man. We miss you. We love you. We hope everything's great.
You guys are the best, man. We'll talk soon.